Saludos and salutations, Broncos country, and welcome back into another exciting episode of Broncos Talk. Ladies and gentlemen, we are finally back after our 2-week break hiatus. I hope you guys had a great, fantastic holidays, and of course, Happy New Year to all of you folks watching us in Broncos country. But ladies and gentlemen, we have got a banger for you guys today, a perfect way to start the show this year. It is now 2026. Even though we are still technically in the 2025 season, we have 2026 aspirations that Libre and I cannot wait to get in front of you guys to talk to you. So please make sure your food is warm, your beer is cold, that you're comfortable as hell, because you're not going to want to miss a single episode of today's show. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, get ready, because here we go. And welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adan Diaz, and joining me to my left or right, depending on which way you're watching, is my co-host, the man, the legend, my best friend, Bronco Libre.
What's happening, Broncos country? How are we feeling with the number 1 seed in hand? Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, you won't believe it, but Libre and I were kind of talking backstage. And I know we haven't seen each other for the last 2 weeks. Hopefully, again, I'll reiterate what I said a few minutes ago. You guys had a fantastic holidays. Hope you guys got everything you wanted. And, of course, enjoyed the holidays with your special loved ones around each other. And, of course, celebrated the New Year safely. And have been waiting for us to come back on the air, because I know we missed y'all just as much as you missed us. I told myself that every single Wednesday of the last 2 weeks that I wasn't here. But we are so excited to be back on the air with you guys here on the Orange and Blue Network. Of course, we have got a very, very exciting and exhilarating 2026 season coming up. I can't go into further detail because otherwise Johnny Baki will hit me with so many fines. I'll have to be working more than I'm working now just to pay it off, because that's just how Johnny is. But ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to get into, all the stuff we've missed over the past 2 weeks. And also we're going to talk about what is in store for the Broncos. Of course, as you guys know, we have secured the number 1 seed, so the Broncos will not play this week, but they will be waiting anxiously to see who their opponent will be next weekend for the divisional round. So if this is your first time here, welcome in. If not, welcome back. Before we get started, we got a couple of things we have to get out of the way, as we do before the start of every single show. So please bear with us as we go into the start of the show. First of all, we'd like to ask you if you could please support us here on the Orange and Blue Network by subscribing, sharing this content with all of your favorite loved ones on all forms of social media. Comment or like on this video. There's something you heard me and Libre say that you don't agree with, and you're not able to join us on the air to discuss about it. No problemo. Please feel free to hit us on there, give us a comment and like, so we can spread the word to the rest of Broncos country that we are here and we are ready to partay. And when I say partay, I mean partay like when we win, not us physically going to a party and partying with you guys, because Libre and I have lives outside of this place. So.
Do we?
I'd like to think so, and I'm getting old, so my partying days are way behind me, you know. For audio listeners, regardless of what platform you're listening to us in, please feel free to give us 5-star reviews. Are always well appreciated. And if you like, you can screenshot that review, send it to us on our socials, and we will be happy to shout you guys out live here on the air. Our socials are there at the bottom of the screen. My Twitter handle is at A6ft10Mexican. Bronco Libre is at Bronco Libre 5280. For any business inquiries you might have, please feel free to email at broncostalk2020@gmail.com. Somebody did ask me why it's Broncos Talk 2020. That's because that's when the show originally aired. Not on this network and not on the air, but 6 years ago now, with this very same microphone. But funny quick story for those who haven't heard it. I thought I was talking into this mic when I started, but I was actually talking into my webcam mic. So if you go back and listen to the very first episode of Bronco Talk, it is me sounding like I'm talking 20 feet away. So took me a couple episodes to get it right, but thankfully I got it right. Shout out to my good friend Mundungus for helping me find that out. But also, ladies and gentlemen, we are sponsored by Dubby. For those that don't know, Dubby is basically no sugar, no calories, no maltodextrin, no fillers, and no artificial colors. Their formula is formulated with nothing but amino acids, B vitamins, and nootropics, which is part of the patented neurofactor. Nootropic, and the caffeine is derived directly from the coffee fruit. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you use the code OBN10, you'll get 10% off your Dubby order at checkout. They have so many great flavors and so many great products for you guys to choose from that buying just one thing is hard to do. So please make sure you use the code OBN10 to get your 10% off your order at checkout. Shout out to Dubby for being a continued sponsor on this and all of the shows here on the Orange and Blue networks. Also, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a show scheduled going into the playoff round. And I want to say going into next year, I'm not 100% sure. Things are subject to change. So we are going to just give you guys what we have now. And if there's any changes, we will be bringing them to you ASAP. Please keep in mind that all the times I'm going to say are in Mountain Time. So first of all, we have the Orange and Blue Blitz, which airs every Monday and Friday at 11 a.m. We have the Broncos Bros every Monday at 7. We have the Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast, which is a flagship show that airs at Tuesdays at 7:30. We have the Mile High Symposium for those of you that are not just Broncos fans, but Nuggets and Rockies fans as well. They got you covered with all Denver sports every Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. Broncos Talk, the show you're currently watching, of course, at 6. And the Mile High Outcast coming to you every Thursday at 7 p.m. And then on Fridays, of course, Bronco Libre and I come to you straight for the Broncos, Viva Los Broncos, podcast, which is the only all-Spanish podcast, the best all-Spanish podcast at that you'll find anywhere on the interweb. Also, for any breaking news, you can hit up the Fresh Squeeze. So make sure you hit that live notification button so you never miss a single moment of the action whenever breaking news hits in Broncos country. Then, of course, we have the Get Buck pregame show, which airs in 1 hour before every single game, where the guys come to you and they bring you all the up-to-date news and stats going into that week's game. The play-by-play is the bucking booth for those of you that are not able to watch the game and you just kind of want to have something playing in the background so you don't miss a single moment of it. The guys bring you every single play-by-play action. And then, of course, we have the Buck Your Feelings post-game show, which airs right after the game, where the guys also come back in
Jacob?
And tell you everything that's going on, what happened in the game, what could have been better, all the good, the bad, and the Baki, as we like to say, and what to look forward to for the next upcoming matchup if there's one available. I haven't done that in 2 weeks, and I feel out of breath, Libre.
I was just going to say that, too. I was like, man, 2 weeks later, and I feel like I'm tired.
Yeah. I can't believe it. I cannot believe that we are already at 18 weeks of football, or past 18 weeks of football, I should say, Libre. I feel like week one was just left. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I feel like this every single year, though. It's like these 18 weeks, we wait so long for the season to start. Mm-hmm. And then in the blink of an eye, the season's done. We're in the playoffs now. Like, it's now down to 14 teams out of the 32. So it's like, what the heck is going on? Like, that's just too quick. It's too quick of a season. I get it why there's not that many weeks or whatever, but still, it's over and done. Now we're into the second season.
By the way, before I forget, shout out to the homie Chris Hernandez, who hit me up just as we were going into our holiday break, Libre. He sends his love. He's still listening to us even after all these years, and he loves what we do. And he wanted me to tell you keep up the great work. So shout
Thank
out
you,
to
Chris.
you. I'm still promising you, Chris, we will get you on the show one of these days. We got to get our ducks in a row, but we will have you back on. So, but thank you so much for being a continued listener and supporter of Broncos Talk. We got some comments here, Libre, so let's get into some of these. Biggie Bronco saying, I hope everybody's having a good night, and I kind of hope Pittsburgh beats the Texans so we can not get Pittsburgh, so we can not, I'm getting saying knock Pittsburgh out of, oh, okay. So we can knock Pittsburgh out of the playoffs. I hate that team. Well, Libre, I don't know about you, but to me, I don't care who comes into Mile High. It could be Pittsburgh, it could be Houston, it could be Jacksonville, the Chargers, the Bills. It doesn't matter. Whoever is going to come into Mile High is leaving with a loss. These Broncos are here to win. So I don't care who it is that's coming into the divisional round. Whoever it is, they're going to have to come in and play the number one seeded team, the best team in the AFC. So don't be afraid of anybody, Biggie Bronco. Please keep the faith alive and know that the Broncos didn't make it this far without being the best team in the NFL.
And just like one of my favorite wrestlers always says, it doesn't matter who comes into the Mile High City because they are going to be living with an L on their record and going home and watching us continue into the playoffs.
By the way, shout out to John Cena. We're going to miss you, man.
Can't see me. You can't see him anymore.
I know.
He said it. He's been saying it for years.
That killed me seeing that last match.
Oh, that ending was terrible, though.
That ending was terrible. I don't agree with it, but I get it. In the end, it doesn't matter. It's like a part of me hopes, sidebar here. Part of me hopes he's got one more match in him, even though I know he said he's never coming back and all that, and he probably means it. But to be honest with you guys, I've heard many, many wrestlers say that in the past, and then they make a comeback. So, never say never, I suppose. Your cousin, Juan Marquez, saying, let's go Broncos. And just a FYI, I called the 14-3 season at the beginning of the year. Did he?
You know what? I think he did. I know, my record was a 12-5. I was I think that's what my record was when we went through the whole schedule prediction. And I think he did go 12-3. We have to go back to the show because I think he was part of it.
We'll have to go back and check on that. We have King Christ here who's saying, y'all do know making it to the playoffs don't make y'all Super Bowl bound, right? I'm guessing this is a hater, Libre.
And that's okay. And we love everyone here. And you're right, because this is one game at a time. But again, what have we been doing all year long? Yes, our wins might be ugly, but those dirty wins, those ugly wins, those battle-tested wins, it's going to help us out within the playoffs because some of these teams don't know how to win at the end of games when it's necessary. Look at our track record. We did it all season long. But I'll put it up with anything. I'll say that the Broncos will go into the Super Bowl playing that way, the way that we've been doing it all year, because we're battle-tested and we're there.
King Christ, I hope I'm saying your name right. Let me just let you in on a little something. And Libre can vouch for this. One of the hardest things to do when we do this show is come up with a title. Libre will tell you there are some times where I draw blank and I ask Libre, do you have an idea for a show? For a show title? And Libre will sometimes pitch something. Otherwise, sometimes he'll be like, hey man, I'm stumped too. Most of the time, Johnny Baki, the guy that owns this network and does everything you see here, will sometimes take things that I say and reword them or change it. And he'll say, hey, how about this? Love it. Run with it. He asks me every single Wednesday, just after 4:00 Central Time, hey, what's the title of the show tonight? And he actually texted me this while I was driving home. And because we've been off for the last 2 weeks, I usually have a title floating in the back of my mind for every Wednesday. But since we've been off, my mind kind of went on vacation mode. And then when he texted me, I'm like, oh, snap, that's right. We got a show today. So I'm thinking, I thought of the word Super Bowl bound because in one way, you're right. Technically, the Broncos aren't on their way to the Super Bowl yet, technically. But they are the number 1 seed. These NFL playoffs, it's not the World Series and it's not the NBA Finals. It's not the best of 7. It's not the best of 5 or 4. It is one and done. There is no other place for the Broncos to go except home, where they already are already. If they lose either the divisional round or the AFC Championship, there's no, hey, we'll get you guys in round 2, or no. It's one and done. There is no room for error for this team. They're literally getting a week off to get some rest for those that need it and to study up on whoever makes it to Denver. So they're already going to have a leg up on the competition before the end of Super Wildcard weekend. So this is why I came up with the word Super Bowl bound, because this team, the way they've been playing and the way things are humming, and what I hope Sean Payton has in his bag of tricks, Libre, it's Super Bowl or bust. That's literally what it is. And trust me when I say this, King Crease, there's going to be a lot of other Broncos podcasts, if you follow any more, that are probably going to start talking Super Bowl. But I thought that this title would get us a head start. So that way Libre and I could say, hey, in 2 weeks from now, we were talking about this before everybody else did. So.
No, I agree with you 100% with that. And just like how my cousin just said, a lot of this stuff is history does repeat itself.
Mm-hmm.
And this does feel like a lot like the 2015 season. But I said this since the beginning of the year, that this defense we have right now is better than the 2015 season, with being called the no-fly zone. This defense is better. They've shown it. Statistically, they are. Now they just have to go out there and prove it out onto the field during the playoffs, which they will, and have it completed.
And again, King Christ, take us last year. Last year, we made the playoffs, something the Broncos had not done in 9 years. And I don't know if you follow this team like Libre and I have, but over the last 9 years, since their last Super Bowl appearance and championship, the Broncos have been living in a world of suck. It took 9 years. 9 years. What was it? 3 different quarterbacks, a change in ownership, a change in coaching, and just a change of attitude in not just the locker room, in the Broncos locker room, but in Mile High itself, to bring this organization back to respectability, to the championship level that everybody outside of Broncos country sees this team for. Because there's a lot of people that aren't fans of this team, but they have high regards for the Broncos. Okay? Believe it or not. And they're out there. Just go out there and find them and ask them. So that's what we, for the last 9 years, have had to deal with. And us making the playoffs last year and knowing that we were walking into Buffalo, and there was a very low chance for the Broncos to win that game last year, because the Bills were on a tear. And that's exactly what happened. We started off strong, but then we just got overwhelmed in the end. And that's okay, because the Broncos were a wildcard team. They weren't even supposed to make it to the playoffs. Everybody had Bo Nix and that entire team written off as a rebuild year, and they shocked a lot of people. So just imagine how the Broncos went from a wildcard team that barely made it to a playoff spot in one season to the number 1 seed. And I don't give a damn if everybody condemns this team, Libre, as the worst 1 seed team. I could give a hoot, because I could sit here and tell you a bunch of other teams in the past that have been in that same position where they were the worst number 1 seed in the NFL, but it was either they made it because of their defense, their offense, or for some reason. So you don't get handed the number 1 spot, Libre, just because somebody feels like giving it to you. You earn it.
No, I agree with you 100%. Let's go. So Shy, what's up, Shy? How you doing, bro?
Yo, Shy Vargas. Hey, how you doing, ma? High salute to you, of course. Sorry, my
A
friend.
hype man, Shy here on the network, and then
Tim
Tim
Dog saying, "What's
Dog,
up,
my
fellas?" Tim
bro.
Dog, what's
You know
going on
what?
with
Let me
you,
tell you
man?
something real quick about Tim Dog.
Mm-hmm.
Him and George both surprised me at the Bronco game on Sunday. They came out and showed up. I was surprised that they came. We had a great time. It was so much fun. Again, Tim Dog and George, thank you again for showing up to the tailgate. Like I said, as always, you guys are always welcome. No invite is needed. You're always welcome there. And guess what? They just showed up. We had a great time. We partied out. We had such an awesome time. And then even after the game, they showed up to the spot for us to get out of there. And man, it was so much fun. Being able to celebrate with these guys is awesome. Love you guys.
Did they interview you for their show, Libre?
We got onto the live right before the game, like the on the podcast before the game started.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I'm
so
sorry I missed it.
yeah, we crashed it with Johnny and Rob and someone else was on. I couldn't really see because I was just screaming because it was on a tiny phone. So
You know what? Johnny has that appeal in that face that even if you're watching him from a tiny phone, like you know his face anyway. And just his energy just
oh yeah,
emanates.
absolutely.
You know, if you guys have ever had the pleasure of meeting Johnny, it's like there's like an invisible camera following him, documenting every moment of his life. That's just how it is. And it is so awesome. The last time I saw him was in Indy, and the fact that he was able to keep a conversation with me and then he just stopped randomly whenever he saw somebody walk by in a Broncos jersey and it's like high five, and some of them wanted to take a picture because he looked really cool in his cape and cane and whatever. So like it's just an awesome feeling. So I can't wait up to meet up with him again. Hopefully it's not at a game, so that way if the Broncos lose, they don't blame us for being there.
It's all your fault.
Because I thought that's where we were gonna. I forgot to message Johnny after the Jacksonville game, Libre. I'm like, Johnny, were you in Denver again and you didn't tell us, and you were at the Jaguars game? Is that why the Broncos lost?
You should have. That would have been funny.
But yeah, going back to the previous question about the Steelers making it, there's a lot of I think the teams in the AFC are tougher than the teams in the NFC. All right. That's just my take on it. I know the NFC's got some crazy matchups going on. Packers and Bears, again, that rivalry is as old as the time itself.
Oh yeah.
The Eagles, defending champions, are in it. The Rams are in it. Seahawks are the number 1 seed. Anything can happen. I think this might be the most unpredictable playoff series we've ever had, Libre, because, and I'm hearing this more and more from different people on social media, just how crazy this past season was in terms of it doesn't matter how much football you know, how much you study it, if you even played in it, there was no way for you to tell what was going to happen next. Even though you could sit there and guess all day, it felt like almost every single Sunday you were shocked in one way or another. So and that's not just saying us with the Broncos in general, Libre, but just all around the league. And as I stated earlier, we're going into the playoffs with a scenario where there's no Joe Burrow, no Patrick Mahomes, and no Lamar Jackson. So I think the only veteran, I guess you could say, in this besides Jalen Hurts is Josh Allen. So he's got a big chip on his shoulders. I know that a lot of people are kind of picking him to be like, this is your time. You should be able to win it all because you don't have any stiff competition in his path as he had in years past, where we're with teams he couldn't beat to get to the big game. But unfortunately for Josh Allen, the Broncos are in this playoff series. So he might make it to the AFC Championship game, maybe, I want to say, maybe division. It doesn't matter. Whoever comes into Mile High, they're literally going to have to be the very best to beat the best team in the AFC Libre, and nobody can tell me different.
I agree with you 100%. Going in and just looking at some of these different scenarios, we're looking at, like me and my boss today was looking at some of the scenarios because he's a huge Bills fan. And he goes, I feel like the Bills can go into Denver and win and beat you guys just because he's a Bills fan, even though he's still a Broncos fan, but he's a Bills. But I said, yeah, but that's an also contingent. Does the Chargers win or not? Because if the Chargers beat New England, doesn't matter who else, whatever happens, the Chargers are coming back to Denver because they're the 7th seed. But if the Patriots happen to beat them and the Bills happen to win, then yes, the Bills will then be coming into Denver. And then I said, hey, are you going to go to the game? And he was like, man, bro, I can't even afford those tickets. I go, I agree. The ticket prices already are crazy, the resale values. But he does think like with Josh Allen and the way that he plays, just like last year, it's going to be the same scenario. I go, we're a different team than what we are last year. Remember, you were going against a rookie quarterback. He now has a second year now under his belt. Yes, it may not look like he might not be the quote unquote, quarterback how Josh Allen is right now. But wait, he's going to be there in several more years because Josh Allen wasn't there right away. But look what he was able to do. When it's time to show up in the fourth quarter, when it's most important, what is he doing? He's creating plays. He's making those plays. He's making those passes. He's doing everything that he needs to do to get his team to win. And great example, go look at the Giants game. Great example, go look at some of these other comeback wins that we had throughout the season. We are battle tested. We are there. This team is a grinding team that does not stop until the final whistle is. And guess what? Like my cousin said, 14-3. The number 1 seed in the AFC. And nobody can take that away from us right now. And we didn't get there by chance. We had a hard schedule. Even though they want to say that we had one of the easier schedules, it doesn't matter who we play. There's still NFL teams that are out there. We still have to play them. They have to play us. But we got it done when it mattered the most. Unlike how last year, there was a lot of games last year that we lost just by a point or two, just like how this year we won it. So we changed the narrative, and that is a huge difference right there. And the confidence that locker room has right now is beyond measurable. And having this extra week off right now for Greenlaw to get healthy and all these other guys to get out there and get healthy and get ready for this divisional round, I hope that these teams are ready because this team, I feel, is going to put a hurting on whoever comes in here.
Yeah, I do hope that we get Brandon Jones back. I think me and you last time we were discussing, we weren't sure if this upcoming bye week counts towards his.
Yeah, and I didn't even look into that either, but that's one of the names that did come up. So I'm hoping that this bye does help. But again, when you look at it, though, what has our defense was able to do during those last 3 weeks? Yeah, we probably we hurt with him not being there for the Jacksonville game, but look what we did with the other games. With the Chiefs, with the Chargers. Again, we didn't play that well against the Chargers itself, but again, it was a very vanilla game itself. We're not going to put on tape out there for the Chargers to reuse if they happen to get back here. And the thing is, Sean Payton's really smart about that. Is he thinks that the Chargers are good enough to go into New England and actually beat New England so that they will be coming back. So that's what he's already planning for. So he's not going to give them extra stuff so that they can view and review and see what we're doing to help destroy them, even though I wanted to go out there and run up the score on them because they rested everyone. But again, he's a lot smarter than I am. And he's like, you know what? We're not going to give them. We're just going to do just enough so that we still win this game. And that's what he did.
I wholeheartedly agree, Libre. And you're not the first person to make that statement. I've heard that from 2 different people since Sunday. And it's something that I didn't think about because I remember reading online during Sunday's game and, a lot of people were coming down on Denver, like, saying, oh, you're supposed to blow this team out. Why is the defense struggling? Why isn't Sean Payton putting up points? They were comparing these Broncos to the Broncos of last year when they played the backup Kansas City Chiefs. But like I said, those were two different circumstances. There was a very little to no shot that the Broncos were going to play the Chiefs again in the later rounds of the playoffs, just for the simple fact that it was a much harder stacked roster last year than this year, I want to say.
Oh yeah.
And in order for Kansas City and Denver to have met up, it was either going to be in the championship round or at the most the divisional round. So uh, kudos to Sean Payton for putting out there a very vanilla offense at the to say the least. But the fact that the defense showed up and said, "Hey, that pick six on Trey Lance was a sight of beauty."
Yeah,
You
it
mentioned
was.
the Jacksonville game. I know we weren't here to call that because we were off on break, but I will say that I did see some things that kind of made me a little worried about what this defense is going to look like going into the postseason, and it's stuff that I hope that they can clean up. And one of those things is just the fact that while I do appreciate the fact that the Broncos, once a receiver makes a catch, that they get to the ball quick, but there is such a thing as being too fast. And that led to a lot of missed tackles and given wasted opportunities in terms of possible sacks or stops. And for example, my Riley Moss on that one play where he just came in, you couldn't. It would almost look like it was Hufanga. He came in like a missile. He really didn't have to. He could have, sped up but kind of held back and waited for backup to get there. But he came in, he dove, he missed, and I think it was Parker Washington who just ran down the field damn near uncontested. So that's something that I feel the Broncos need to clean up going into the postseason, Libre, because it's mistakes like those that could cost you. And as we saw in that game, Libre, it could literally, even though the Broncos are at home, but just to say the saying, it will send you home right away. So going into the postseason, Libre, these types of mistakes have to be cleaned up. They have to be avoided because any team, not just Jacksonville, but any team that comes into Mile High, if you give them an inch, as I like to say, they will take a mile.
No, I agree with you 100% on that. And especially for the Jacksonville game, they did miss a lot of tackles, like we are just talking about right there. But I do feel like it was a weather related type of thing. This is what I kept on hearing, especially the day afterwards. It was like, this is Jacksonville weather here in Denver. It was like 65 degrees here late in December. Like, this is ridiculous. Even on Sunday's game, here, the first weekend in January, another 60, 65-degree weather type, So it's something that if Jacksonville does happen to come back here to Denver, which would be with the AFC Championship game on January 25th, trust that it's going to be a snow game and it's going to be a whole different story. Yes, both teams will be playing in that weather. And yes, we have not played in that weather all year long. So that's going to be something to be adjusted to. But for that game on the 21st of December, we didn't tackle very well. And that was evident. And that's why we got beat that day, is because we just couldn't tackle. And I know, like, over the last couple of weeks, when we went into the short week going into the Christmas game with KC, that was rectified. And I know, like, it's very hard to make any type of report or judgment on what happened on this last Sunday just because it was such a vanilla. But you have to remember, the defense rose up. We got the pick six, which was crazy, the first defensive touchdown of the year as well. That's like, when you think about that, that's kind of weird to see that was the first one of the year. But you know what? It's going to continue throughout this playoffs because now they got the taste of it. Now they know how it feels. Yes, if it is going to be the defense that wins this, remember, championships are won on the defensive side. Defense wins championships.
Agreed. And your cousin Juan jumps in saying this season had a little bit of everything. A football fan could ask, all the way from the Raiders beating the Patriots to the final play of the regular season with the Ravens and Steelers. Now, I will say some of that for our overtime segment of the show, Libre, but I will say that I can't imagine how much the Raiders were kicking themselves for the fact that they lost week 1 against the Raiders and probably didn't even really think about it in the beginning because obviously nobody really knows how their
Mhm.
season is going to go week 1. It could go either the same way it started, it could get better or it could get good and start. There's so many variables, but you gotta know or you gotta believe that the Patriots finishing second, but still losing out on the number 1 seed, that's gotta hurt. And they were really looking forward to having that week off. Um, I will say the only good thing that came out of the Broncos losing against Jacksonville was the fact that it broke the and it happens with every single win streak, especially as the Broncos win streak was growing and growing and growing. Like it gets harder every single game with trying to keep that winning streak going. You know, the momentum,
Yeah.
the adrenaline, the energy, all that. So when that was all shattered, it kind of took the pressure off of the Broncos to keep going and trying to be perfect. All right. And especially with the Broncos having a bye week, they don't have to worry about losing any type of momentum or none of that. They needed this because they hadn't had one since week 13, I believe, just before the Washington game. And I'll be honest with you, Libre, they came out a little bit flat in that game. Um,
Mhm.
they were supposed to have kind of dominated the Commanders. That was the whole thing that was, kind of a given, but that game was way too close to call, and it went in overtime, and thank God for Nick Bonito and being able to jump up and block that pass. That gave us a win. So, hopefully, the Broncos, can fix what's broken in this upcoming bye week. Like you said, hopefully the injured heal up. Um, Kind of thinking about Garrett Bowles right now. I know Garrett Bowles kind of scared the hell out of us.
Whoa, that was scary. Just to see him leave, like, oh my God, we have Garrett Bowles out. This is going to be terrible. Then him coming back in the second half, we're
Mhm.
like, ooh, Bowlesy's back. Our Walter Payton Man of the Year is back. Let's go.
Yeah. PJ Lock going down too. Did they show that on the
You know,
thing?
they didn't. Like, we just saw that he was down and out, but then they didn't really show, like, what's strange is like they never show the replay there inside the stadium.
Mhm.
So we always have to either go onto our phones real quick to see if anything's thrown on X, or if you can go on to a streaming service to see if they're doing the broadcast and they're showing it. Um, Sometimes like it's too much work just to try to pull it up because sometimes it comes up, sometimes it doesn't. So it's like I wish that they showed more of it inside the stadium, but I understand why they don't, because sometimes some of those injuries can be gruesome.
Yeah. I remember I saw they just showed like a quick frame, and I think it was PJ Lock. I don't know if he hobbled or they carried him, but he just kind of fell on the sideline on the floor. And then that's when I was like, oh man, I hope he's good. I don't remember who was the replacement for him off the top of my head, Libre, but I thought that injury might open the conversation up once again to maybe think about bringing um, Justin Simmons. I'm pretty sure he's still a free agent, and
Hmm.
it might be nice to have just that kind of familiarity in Denver. And I don't think he won a ring. I don't think he was on the team in 2015.
He was
So
not.
okay, so this is one of the better chances the Broncos are going to have. It could be the start of a dynasty for all we know in Denver. So I'm hoping that they think about bringing him on and having him as a rotation type until he gets the well, he already knows how the defense works. So I hope that's something they consider before the start of next week's game.
If they were going to do any type of moves, that they would have made the move already. And depending on like the injury with PJ Lock, like, is it something that is going to be season ending where they're going to put him on the IR? Because now you have to think of a roster spot. That's all that thinking as well. Because if he's just going to be out, say, just this bye week, and then he'll be ready for the divisional round, then he'll be good. Or Is he going to have to skip the divisional round for the AFC Championship game? But again, that's depending on how severity it is. And I haven't seen any updates on it or haven't looked into it yet as well. So I don't know how much of thinking of bringing him in, because Justin Simmons, I think he's already made it clear that he said, hey, I want to finish what I started there in Denver. Yes, I know why you released me, because of the money and what I was going to get there. Just give me the league minimum. That's all that I want. I want to finish what we started there in Denver. Let's get there, and I want to be part of the team. He sees it. He sees what we're doing as well. So those feelers are out there. We'll see what happens.
I agree. But I feel like maybe the Broncos aren't showing off their full hand, Libre. Like, I'd like to think that Sean Payton and maybe even our defensive coordinator, I can't think of his name for some freaking reason.
Vance Joseph?
Vance Joseph, thank you. Have got something up their sleeve, something that they're trying not to make public knowledge. Although I don't think you bringing in players is something that you can withhold. But I think
because it's going to be part of the transaction. So
yeah,
anything with the transactions is reported to the league, and everyone knows right away.
Right. Plus, Vance Joseph is kind of got his head in the clouds in terms of, there's a lot of teams looking at him for a possible head coaching job going into next season. So I think he interviewed for a couple teams, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't think they were full interviews, because I forget what that rule is where you can't really fully interview candidates that are currently in playoff.
Yeah, well, I don't understand why they'd have an interview and not being a full interview. I know he was scheduled to do 4 or 5 this week. Surprising one, from yesterday with the Ravens releasing John Harbaugh, which is crazy in itself. But again, Vance Joseph going in, already reports of Tim talking with the Raiders, talking with the Giants, talking with Arizona, which he's already familiar with Arizona already, because he was a defensive coordinator there. So I'm hoping that he stays at least another year, help support what we're doing here. But if not, if he has a good opportunity, I hope it works out for him the second time around being a head coach. But let's do it again a year. Come on, back to back. Let's go. You've done a good job here this year.
The crazy thing about Vance Joseph, Libre, is if I would have told you that after that Miami game 2 years ago, that Vance Joseph was going to be one of the, I don't know if the hottest name is the proper term, but one of the sought out most coaches for possible head coaching, you'd look at me like I was freaking nuts.
Oh, everybody would have said that too. After that game, it's why are you even in the league? Why are you even here? You're giving up 70 points to a team. What's going on? Get out. I'm surprised the Broncos even let him on the plane back home. We talked about that as well.
I mean, I'm kind of torn about Vance Joseph when I think about it, because you've heard me say this before, Libre. Vance Joseph already had a chance as a head coach, as the Broncos head coach. And if I'm not mistaken, that was his first opportunity ever given to him in terms of being a head coaching candidate. Keep in mind, he was the Miami Dolphins defensive coordinator, I believe. And John Elway hired him over Kyle Shanahan.
Well, part of it, there's a lot of rumors around that, is because I guess at the time when all that happened, because we all wanted Kyle Shanahan. That's who I wanted. That's who I wanted to go with. But because Elway and Mike Shanahan had a beef going on, they're like, well, guess what? I'm taking this personal, and we're not going to hire Kyle, even though Kyle was part of the team back in the day when when John Elway was playing. I think he took it personal, and that's why Kyle was not here, because we all wanted Kyle Shanahan to be here.
Yeah. And as we came to find out, Vance Joseph was not the right selection for the Broncos.
No.
And we sat there and watched Kyle Shanahan. He only had one bad season, Libre, and that was his first year there, where the Niners were just terrible. But it wasn't because of him. It was just him stacking up picks.
Yeah.
And him and John Lynch, a former Bronco himself, rebuilt that team from the ground up. And
they have. And they've done a good job. Look where they're at now. Like, you know, they're doing a great job. They just lost the West just here at the last couple of weeks of the season, but what they've been able to do has been put this together. Like, look at how long he's been there as the head coach there. What, 8 years now? It's been 8 years. So yeah.
And I don't know if you saw the Elway documentary, Libre. I've seen it like,
if you're not a Broncos fan, who hasn't?
I've seen it like 3 times already. And like, just there was a bunch of stuff about John Elway I never knew about, and I thought I knew everything about John Elway. You know, from how he grew up to where he went to school to, you know, all this, what he went through when he got drafted, where he was going to go. And it was just like, geez Louise. But seeing him sitting there watching himself win his first Super Bowl, like that scene
and that emotion that he had,
like you could see, and then like the camera zoomed in on his hand.
Yeah.
And it's like I pictured myself in that spot. Like that was me, or that's going to be me in like 40 years, sitting in my rocker or wheelchair or whatever, and watching the first time I saw John Elway throw a football, or watching Peyton Manning going out there. Like, it just, I felt that scene alone was powerful enough that it related to everybody. And those that were lucky enough to have been at that Super Bowl, to have ever been able to sit at Mile High and watch John Elway throw a football from his first game to his last. I just hate that I didn't discover Denver football until when John Elway retired. You know, that's
so one of my favorite memories that I have is I went to his very last home game at Mile High Stadium when we played the Jets in the AFC Championship game, knowing that could have been potentially his last game. Like, and we all knew it too. So like, I had to go in there, and I bought a ticket from at the time I didn't know, but it was a Jets fan that I bought it from, and I was sitting right next to him throughout the game or whatever. But just being able to talk to him, being just football itself, and him saying, yeah, like Elway is one of the greats, and that's part of the reason why I'm here. Yes, I'm a Jets fan, but seeing John Elway play possibly his last home game here at Mile High is phenomenal. But talking about that Super Bowl 32 as well, one thing that I did not know until the documentary come out, the play that he had the helicopter on was a play that he did not like, and that they just instilled that week for the game itself. And he goes, this thing is never going to work. And now that's the most iconic play in football history, you know, like everyone knows that play. And he said, I don't even like it. And it didn't even go well. Like, the play wasn't even was designed on what it was supposed to do.
They ran
you know, and it was nuts. And I did not know that until I saw that documentary itself. I was like, dang, that play was just installed that week, and he knew that it wasn't going to work. It didn't work, and he just scrambled for that first down. But again, looking at that play overall, just not knowing the story, you saw the determination of a quarterback that was looking for his first Super Bowl ever, and you saw that. And the players, his teammates said, seeing him do that itself was like, you know what, this guy, we need to win it for him. Like, this is his determination. He's 37 years old at that time, and he wants to win this so bad. Let's go out there and finish it off for him.
Yeah, I mean, I never really thought about the toll it took on him and his family during the 80s. You know, he talked about losing against the Giants, and then losing against Washington, where they had a one touchdown lead to start off the game. And
that
then they
second
just
quarter,
lost
man.
it.
Yeah.
And then him going, him admitting that he was not confident about beating Jerry Rice and Joe Montana.
Well, you have to remember, like, those Super Bowls that he played out, like, it was all him. Like, yes, we had the three amigos, we had them, we had that, but they weren't the elite receivers that a lot of the teams had, like Jerry Rice and all that. And going into those games, we didn't have a run game either. And that was part of it as well. Is like we had these good receivers, but they weren't elite. They weren't that elite receivers that we should have had. But because that we didn't have the run game and it was just all on John Elway's arm, going out there and winning these games, that's why we were able to get there, because we were good enough to get to there. But when we got to the elite status of the 49ers, the Washington, I think we could have beat Washington because they just happened to have that great third quarter there with Doug Williams and whatnot. The Giants, man, that was another close game that I think we could have come out and win, but we didn't have a complete team at that time. And like you said in the documentary itself, what made us different in the 97 season was Terrell Davis, because he gave us that run game that we didn't have before. But again, yes, it was instilled because of Shanahan, because we had to get rid of Dan Reeves and whatnot in order to make that happen. And it was crazy on all of that change too, because like 2 years later, after we hired Dan Reeves, Shanahan, we're in the Super Bowl and winning it.
Yeah, I like what Shanahan told Elway. He's like, I love you, but you're not meant to be taking hits like that anymore.
Yeah,
like, you need
exactly.
to run a game.
And he's right. Sure, and look what happened.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that hurt John's ego a little bit, even though he'll never admit it. But he knew that Mike Shanahan was right. It's the whole reason why, and God bless Pat Bowlen, God rest his soul, who took the chance on Mike Shanahan. And, because I didn't realize that they had actually talked about trading John Elway when the whole animosity started between him and Dan Reeves. And, we've seen teams in the past, Libre, kind of take that easy way out where they trade the quarterback and they side with the coach and say, oh, it's the quarterback that's not working out for the team, so we're going to trade him or get rid of him. And, that's going to fix all the problems and we'll bring in somebody new. But sometimes it's not just the quarterback. It's a gamble more than anything, Libre, almost 50-50, I guess you could say, because you have to be able to find not just the right quarterback, but the right coach to coach that quarterback and be able to teach him, hey, when you make mistakes, we got to fix them. You got to find out how you can improve and be better than you were before. So never settle for less and always strive for more.
You got it.
But again, if you haven't watched it, you definitely guys got to go watch it because it's a great series. Again, I've seen it three times, and I never get tired of it. Although, another quick thing, like I didn't realize that they call him his grandkids call him Pop
or something like that.
Poppy?
Yeah, Poppy or something like that.
Yeah, Poppy, and I think they said that his house is just down the road from me in Idaho. Oh, that's not down the road from me. That's down the road from you, isn't it?
In Idaho?
Yeah.
Well, it's a couple states north.
Where his lake house is?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's not that far from Denver.
Yeah, I was like, wow. This whole time, I don't know if that's just maybe one of the lake houses he owns, but it's really interesting to see. I don't know why I always thought he lived like in a giant house with 20-foot doors and almost all the Broncos memorabilia you could find type of thing. So I honestly don't know what's going on there. But again, just to kind of reiterate the show, we don't know who's coming to Denver. Again, it doesn't matter. We're ready for it.
It doesn't matter.
That's right. It doesn't matter. So we're ready to take on any newcomers, regardless of who it is. And we are just ready, Libre. That's all I can't put it any better than that. I know you and I were talking before the show, and you said you were going to be at the game. I hope some of our other friends that have been going to the game can be there too.
You know what? Like, let me tell you, some of the guys that said that they may not be able to go into the game because of the ticket price to get in. But if you are going to come out, come to the tailgate. Even if you don't have a ticket, come to the tailgate. There's bars around the stadium where you can go and watch the game, whatever, or you can drive back home before kickoff. But come to the tailgate. We're going to have a huge tailgate, lot C10. Hope to see you guys there. We're going to have lots of fun, lots of drinks. I have Breckenridge Distillery that has sponsored the tailgate itself. So come over. I have, of course, the Bronco Championship Blend, the Mile High Blend right there. They sponsor the tailgate. So let's go.
You heard it here, folks. You can go meet the Bronco Libre at Lot C, I think he said.
C. Champion C10.
C. I want to say, just trying to picture this arena in my head, that Lot C is right next to that little apartment building, right?
No, right next to the stadium. So it's south of the stadium. It's right connected to the stadium.
Is that where the rideshare drop-off is?
No, that's on the other side.
Oh, shoot. I could have sworn I thought I knew where it was.
Nope. See, you should have came this year and you would have known.
I should have, but I settled for the Colts game because it was close.
You should have, would have, could have, but then you didn't because you wanted to hang out with Johnny.
Well, technically, I think Johnny was already going to be there before I said I was going. And it was closer to him, too, because he lives in Tennessee. So, ironically, we had the same drive time. I think we were.
So, like you just said, Tennessee.
I think we had like a 5-hour drive each. And I thought that Johnny was going to be like 2, maybe 3 hours away, not 5. But I think they go through a time difference just like we do.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. I remember I was talking to his wife, but I'm old, so I forgot what she was saying. But I do know that they stayed, I think, at the hotel right on the other side of the bridge, because there's a bridge that goes by Lucas Oil, and I think they were at that hotel.
Okay.
So I wish I would have known. I probably could have asked Johnny if I could park my car there instead of parking it like 2 miles away.
You always tend to park way too far away and not knowing.
Well, at least I didn't have to. Well, I did pay for parking. I paid like $20, and there was only like 3 other cars there. But we got there early.
Indication.
Yeah, we got there early. So when we were walking closer to downtown Indianapolis, and we started seeing the other fans, the signs, and I'm like, okay, we're not lost.
Right.
Yo, D-Rock jumping in.
Look at Juan said he knows where the tailgate is located at.
Yeah, because he's been there. D-Rock saying, hey, Don, Libre.
What's happening, D-Rock? Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get the festivities kickstarted a little bit earlier than usual. So we have reached the end of regulation, which means it is now time for overtime. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Broncos Talk Overtime. This is the part of the show where Libre and I let down our hair figuratively and talk about anything going on with our lives that we find interesting or that we want to share. Now, normally we talk about the picks for the upcoming games, but the regular season is over. So,
what was the final records?
The final score was Chet 160 points. I had 167, and Bronco Libre had 173.
Whoop, whoop.
Thank God we don't keep records here.
It's a good thing we can go back on our shows and check them out.
Johnny, I know you rewatch every show. Delete all the past Broncos Talk overtime segments of the last season.
I already have them all saved, so it doesn't matter.
Libre, I got to share with you a funny experience that I had working security at my job. And this is true. If I didn't miss that 1 week, I would have won.
Debatable.
For the record, if there is any. So for me, I this last Wednesday I worked New Year's Eve security at my job. I work at a hotel, and I had done it previously, like 5 years ago before COVID, and it was pretty crazy. We kept getting noise complaints that people. It's New Year's Eve. Not everybody goes to sleep. Not everybody goes to a hotel room and goes straight to sleep. So it was crazy. It was nonstop. It was hectic. So, and this year I worked it with my brother. So I know a lot of you guys have never seen my brother. If you go back and you watch some of the earlier episodes, my brother's actually been on the show before as a special guest. But we're really big dudes. Like if we walk down a hallway, there's nobody going around us. It's like that. That's how, we're just two really big dudes. And so it was like just past midnight, Libre, and the parties that we were there for, like the New Year's Eve parties that we had at 1:00, they wrapped up. So that's all the time they were given. And people were like, okay, you guys can go home, but you gotta get up out of here because we're done. We gotta close, we gotta clean up, gotta get ready for the morning. So this one family goes up to the room, and it was like maybe like 5 or 6 of them, So a couple of them were already tipsy. They go to their room. It's like whatever. About maybe 30 minutes after that, we get a noise complaint. So me and my brother go. We knock on the door. We introduce ourselves. Say, hey, listen, got a noise complaint. We guys heard you as we were walking down this hallway. You guys are being too loud, man. You got to keep it down, or we're gonna have to ask you to leave. No, it's okay. We're sorry. We'll keep it down. So okay. So me and my brother leave. We're walking back to the lobby where our desk is, and we just it must have been like maybe 10, 15 people just walked past us, and we didn't think anything of it. I'm like, it's like 1:30, they're probably going to the room. So we go back, and we're just standing there, me and my brother just shooting the breeze. And then like 20 minutes go by, and we get the same call from the room adjacent to them, like, hey, trying to sleep. Guys, they're just knocking on the wall. They're yelling, they're screaming. And we're like, okay. So we called the local PD. The local PD showed up, and we're like, hey, we got a noise complaint. Can you come with us to escort them out? Make sure there's no problem. Okay. So we're walking towards the room, and the cop, I could hear the cop behind me tell the other cop next to him, he's like, wow, and I thought I was a big guy. He's walking right behind me and my brother. My brother looks at me. We start we're trying not to laugh because like, wait, man, we got to be serious. We're laughing. So we get to the door, knock on the door, say, front desk security. And at first they didn't want to open the door. And I knock on it again. And I'm like, hey, you know who it is. You know why we're here. Please don't make this anything any harder than it has to be. And the guy opens the door, and he's like, hey, man, listen, we're going to keep it down. I know we got a little carried away. Hey, man, listen, we told you. And talked to our manager. Our manager says, you guys got to bounce. And he's like, all right, there's no talking. And he sees the cops behind us, and he's like, okay, well, we're getting our things. Okay. You can kind of hear them in there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were talking about us. But they're kind of taking their time. So I knock on the door. Like, hey, man, this last warning. Like, yeah, we coming. So they opened the door, Libre. 22 people came out of that one living room that's only supposed to hold like 4 or 5.
Dang.
22. Mostly
Dang.
mostly men. Mostly men and a couple women. And me and my brother just looking at each other. My brother's like, "How many did you count?" I'm like, "22." He's like, "Yeah, that's what I got too." And we go in there
That is
real quick,
nuts.
and they at least left all the garbage in a box in the middle of the hotel room. But they were obviously smoking in there because you could see the ashes on the bed, on the table, and
Oh
on
yeah.
the carpet. So, like, okay, we got to log that. There's a no smoking fee. If you smoke in the room, they're gonna charge you. So, and like, I just thought that was crazy.
That is nuts. Wow. That 22 people, but you already had a sensation that or an indication if that was going to happen when you have 15 people already walking back.
We
But
had
you didn't
no
think
idea that they were all going into the same room,
that
though.
same place. Dang, that's crazy.
Because I was like, and me and my brother standing there, like, where do the other people go? Like, were they all standing on the bed? There's no balcony, so they couldn't hang out on the balcony. Like, what the?
That's just thinking about like, was it a 2-bed room, like
One
a
bed.
queen size? One
One
bed.
bed. It was a
King, queen.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was just one of those like, hey man, listen, we got a room, come through type of thing. Because the
Yeah.
party that we were holding at the hotel was like a family package party. So you had to pay, you got a wristband, and I think it was like from 9 to midnight, it was an open bar. You can get all the drinks you want. So,
Jeez.
and part of my job also was being down there and checking to make sure that the grown-ups had the wristbands to make sure that they weren't
Oh yeah.
that they were part of the package. So I just thought that was funny. And me and my brother were laughing the rest of the night. It was almost like 4 a.m. We're tired. We want to go home. And well, I wasn't tired. I actually I told you earlier that I took a nap in the middle of the day, which is something that I hardly ever do. And when I woke up, I got so confused. I sat down in this chair and I thought we were supposed to record.
Oh man.
Until I looked at my phone and I'm like, wait a minute, today's the 31st. Like, Libre and I ain't recording today. I gotta get ready for work. The hell am I doing?
That is hilarious.
I'm getting old, bro.
Yes, you are. And I'm getting younger.
Exactly. But let's talk about a little bit more, unless you have a story to share.
I don't even, that's the most interesting thing that happened to me too over the last 2 weeks was your story. Yeah, my last 2 weeks have been pretty boring. Besides being able to go to the game on Sunday, but other than that, everything else was boring.
So let's talk matchups, Libre. Or we can talk about head coaching, the head coaches that got
fired.
Yep. Yeah. We did, actually that brings me to another point. What happened at the Ravens-Steelers game? Like, it sucks seeing your kicker miss. And I've said this to a couple of people on TikTok, because apparently they're going out, they're targeting the kicker, and they're going past football. Like, I get it. You're a fan, you're mad, your team is upset.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of variables that went into that situation. Yes, the kicker's a rookie. Rookies are going to make mistakes, whether they're kickers or quarterbacks. Doesn't matter what position they are in the league, in any sport really. They're going to make mistakes. And that's a lot of pressure to put on a rookie kicker. And it's a position that the Ravens shouldn't have been in the first place. And it goes back to what they were saying about the Bengals last year. Remember when everybody was feeling sorry for the Bengals because because the Chiefs had all their starters and the Broncos steamrolled them? It's almost the same thing in that sense. And it's like, you want to be mad at the kid for missing? Be mad at the kid, but don't take it past that. And I was telling a lot of people, we were in that situation last year where we lost the game because of a blocked field goal. That should have won us the game. But
exactly. And we had so many, and it goes to Alex Forsett, that we go back there. There was a lot of times where I was like, oh my God, why is Alex Forsett in there? And then going after that play as well, when you go back and look at other plays that he's had, especially on the field goal, he was getting beat all the time. All the time, he kept on getting beat. And what led up to the game, the Chiefs read it. They saw that he was getting beat. So they just put extra pressure on him, and that's why they blocked it.
Yeah.
But again, I didn't hear anything here from our side, from the Broncos side, about threatening Forsett and saying, hey, all the things that we've heard was like, he needs to be benched, get him out of here, get him cut. Not about threatening.
And that's fine because you're keeping it in the realm of football. But nobody attacked him personally. They didn't go on his, social media sites or whatever and told him to F off. And, the divorce is in Tyler Loop's case to have his girlfriend or fiance divorce him or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just like it got taken way out of context. And I said to these guys, I'm like, we were there with you. It hurts. But, you kind of have to do what they do and just kind of get over it. And it sucks. And the Broncos had their revenge this year because they swept Kansas City. So it kind of came back. I told every Broncos fan that within the sound of my voice, like, we're gonna get them. We're gonna get them back. You better believe that. And indeed we did. And it took a whole season to come get it. But I think that the Ravens firing Harbaugh was a bad call.
Especially after 18 years.
I will say I have been seeing a lot of fans, Ravens fans specifically, that have been calling for Harbaugh to be fired since last year when Mark Andrews dropped that pass. And whatever happened the year before, I can't remember, that cost the Ravens a chance to lose. But you have to remember that a lot of that fell on the players themselves, not just on Harbaugh. The fact that Harbaugh was able to find you a quarterback after Joe Flacco is a miracle in itself, because that is one of the hardest things to do in football, is when you find that franchise quarterback, that guy that's been carrying your team for years, and they're starting to show old age or, regression or what have you, and you have to move on. Finding the next guy is not simple, and it's just luck more than anything, i.e. the Green Bay Packers. From Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, and you can make an argument about Jordan Love in terms of being in that trio. But there are teams right now that are battling that don't even have one. So I think that the Ravens are definitely, it doesn't matter who comes back or who takes over that team, because a new coach, new coaching staff, new players, they're going to gut that system down. So,
well, yeah, because the new coach, whoever it's going to be, is going to want to bring in his own guys. That's exactly what happens. Just like the Broncos did a couple of years ago when we got
Sean Payton.
We shot Sean Payton. We had a 1 year under Russell, but he goes, Russell's not the guy. We need to get rid of him. And it took the ownership group to say, you know what? Let's go ahead and do that. I'm just looking at there's 7 teams right now that are looking for head coaches. Talking about the Ravens. We have now the Cleveland Browns. They have a young quarterback there that's in Shador. I think Shador is going to be the quarterback going forward for them. So I think with that might help out with them. The Raiders, they have, like, what is it? It says opening coaching early. It says 26, but I don't think I heard anything with what's his name being fired yet.
Give it time.
Yeah, I agree. It could be the Giants now. The Giants is looking for someone. The Tennessee Titans looking to rebuild. The Atlanta Falcons, Arizona Cardinals are looking to get fired. But again, another thing too is like Miami fans. I have a lot of friends that on Facebook that because of the super fan that we are, they're talking about they want Mike out of there. They want him out there, but he's already gone out there and said, hey, I'm going to be helped with, because they fired their GM. They're like, I'm going to be part of the GM process of looking into it until I'm not. Like, I'm surprised that wasn't one of the Black Monday firings as well. So we'll see what happens. But some of these teams, I think, are just trying to get that rebuilt, refresh right away, and so they can get in there and get out. They've seen what the Broncos were able to do, and I feel like that's what their next steps are as well.
Yeah, the only firing that didn't surprise me, Libre, was the Arizona one, getting rid of Jonathan Gannon. I think I said that at the beginning of the season, where I was like, if Gannon doesn't turn it around, he's gone. I will say I'm ashamed of the Raiders for firing Pete Carroll, because I was hoping for one more season of whatever that was, because watching the Raiders just completely be terrible, and watching Geno Smith flap, or what is that?
Well, yeah, Geno Smith. But the thing is, it's like I think they just brought him in to be the scapegoat. And now they have the number 1 pick. They're gonna get their quote unquote franchise quarterback, but who knows if he's gonna do anything. Mendoza, I don't think, like, if they need to have a good quality offensive minded quarterback or offensive coach to be able to help them out there in Vegas, if that's going to happen. And right away, one of the top candidates is Clint Kubiak, a product of Mike Shanahan and so forth, who's the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks. The Seahawks did really well on the offense this year.
Did you know, Libre, that the Raiders are paying $50 million total for head coaches that aren't even with the Raiders organization?
But the part of it is, again, yeah, that's a lot of money that's not there anymore, but that's not part of their salary cap, though. That's extra money that's being used for that. But what can you say? Look at the Broncos, like, going to the salary cap. The Broncos being the number 1 seed with $38 million in dead cap money this year. There's no team in history that could say that they've done that and will be able to do that. Imagine what we're going to be able to do next year once that cap money goes away next year, and we can use it on some offensive weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is like this team already. Our defense is great, and then being able to use that money on some grade number 1 wide receiver, I feel that we need. Not to knock off Cortland Sutton, but he's not a true number 1. But if we can get a true megastar receiver in, which I feel that we're going to be able to do because they see what we've done this year, and that's our missing piece, that we're going to be dominant for the next several years. Like, I think that, like, the league is going to be looking at us and like, dang, look at what they were able to build with nothing, and now that they have all this extra cash, and look what they're able to do. Like, it's going to be a nightmare for the league and the AFC West for the next several years, because we have money that we're going to be able to play with next year and bring some people in.
I agree, Libre. But before I forget, let's talk a little playoff football here. Wildcard weekend.
Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs?
Chargers and Patriots. What do you got?
Oh, yeah. This is going to be one of those good games. Like, yes, the Patriots have had a great season, but who have they really played? Some of these games that they played, they had the easiest schedule in league history, and they were able to finish it off at 14-3. How we were talking about earlier about them losing to the Raiders week 1 of the season, which at the time, not a big deal. It's week 1. We're going to be able to take care of it later on. Well, guess what? That one game was a factor in them being number 2. It's in Foxborough but again, these Chargers, if Justin Herbert is healthy enough, and if they're good, I think they can go in there and surprise the Patriots, because the Patriots haven't played a good team yet this year, and the Chargers are. So just like how we were talking about earlier, why Sean Payton didn't put a vanilla game out there this last Sunday was because he knew that this could potentially be happening with the Chargers coming back into town in the divisional round against us.
I'm going to say Patriots, just for the simple fact that while you do have a point about New England not playing any really good teams yet, the Chargers, even though they had a week off in terms of trying to rest their starters, their offensive line is not going to be at 100%. I don't think Justin Herbert is going to be at 100%. I think his hand issue is a lot worse than they're letting on, which is a big reason why they had to sacrifice them possibly getting the sweep over the AFC West.
Yeah.
They give up that game and giving the Broncos number 1 seed, because they could have easily played spoiler if they wanted to, but they didn't. So I think that the Patriots are going to take advantage of that, and I think that they're going to beat them. Jaguars and Bills. What do you got, Libre?
You know what? I actually like the Bills in this game. Part of it, why, is that they have more playoff experience than the Jaguars. And the Jaguars were playing good, but again, it's a whole new season at this point. I don't think Sunshine has it in him. You know, Trevor Lawrence, I don't think like he's going to be able to step it up into it itself. But yeah, I'm actually taking the Bills in this one.
I think that the Bills are going to surprise a lot of people. I know Jacksonville has been playing pretty hot as of late, but I think that the Jaguars are a little bit more beat up than they're letting on. They did look kind of shaky against Tennessee, you know, and if it wasn't for the fact that Cam Ward went out with an injury, the Titans probably would have kept it close. But unfortunately, Cam Ward going down, it sucks to see that Brandon Allen, who's a veteran in this league, you can say, was not able to play better. I think the tape he put out there was terrible, and it kind of reminded people why he was never a starter in this league. So I'm going to say Buffalo wins that game as well. And then the other game in the AFC is the Steelers and the Houston Texans. What do you got?
Actually, I do have Houston winning that game. I think the Steelers they're just all right, but that Houston D is way too good for them.
I agree with you. And the fact that CJ Stroud was able to take a big lead more than 2 weeks ago and then completely disappear for the rest of the game is definitely something that needs to be studied. And if the Texans lose that game because of that, and you know, again, like you've heard me say it a million times, Libre, the best way to beat a defense is to tire them out. You know, play time of possession goes a long way, even if you're just kind of checking down and walking down the road.
So talking about that, that's exactly what we did to KC on the Christmas Day game. We had 3 drives of 15 plus or like 8 minutes, 8+ minutes each drive. That's what you do. You have to wear them down, and eventually by the fourth quarter, they're not going to be there. They're going to be huffing and puffing. They're going to look for that oxygen, especially when it comes to the playoff football. It's a whole different story. So it doesn't matter what team comes in here. Like I said, I think that we'll be able to produce some more drives that are longer, sustainable drives here in Denver than what we did against the Chargers. But again, like we mentioned, it was a vanilla game. All we needed to do is just win the game, and that's exactly what he did. Whatever means necessary.
I know we're going a little bit over. No pun intended. Rams and Panthers, Libre. Who do you got?
I have the Rams. The Rams are really good right now, and it's going to be hard to stop them right now.
I want to say Rams too. I think they get the revenge over Carolina because they were embarrassed on national TV for that game. But then again, I wouldn't be 100% surprised if the Panthers win that game. But I have the Rams to win it. Green Bay and Chicago, Libre.
Third game. Did they finish off 1-1, right?
Yeah, and we're supposed to get snow on Saturday, Libre.
And I saw that too. And the game's in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and what I like about it is like the Bears. Man, I just like the Bears for some reason in this game. Like, I know that a lot of people are looking at that Micah Parsons, and now with his teammate coming that got cut from the Cowboys just recently that they picked up, Diggs, Stephon Diggs, that just got picked up by the Packers, that they're going to be that dominant duel. But again, it's been a long time since they played together. He's just coming into this team now over the last couple of weeks. But I actually do like the Bears in this. Caleb Williams, I think, is going to pull this game out.
I think I'm going to disagree with you. I think I'm going to go Packers.
Okay.
Even though they don't have Micah Parsons, I think that even in snow, I mean, the Packers play in snow in Lambeau too, so that's not a really big advantage for Chicago. But I think that they're gonna get right game. The Packers are definitely are still not over the embarrassment of them giving up that loss to Chicago. So I think that they come back stronger and they make up for it. So I think Green Bay beats Chicago.
Okay.
And then the last one, Libre, Eagles and 49ers.
The Eagles and 49ers. That's good. That's another good game. It's in Philadelphia.
East versus West Coast, Libre.
Dang. Who do I pick? I'm looking at it. Gang, Niner gang. Let's go.
Really? After they only put 3 against the Seahawks on Sunday?
It doesn't matter what they did this last Sunday. We're coming in the divisional round. This is the second season now.
I'm going to have to say Eagles, Libre. I think that Vic Fangio and I want to say the Eagles offense has something up their sleeve. The Eagles offense definitely has to play better because I feel that the Niners are going to come shooting off the hip like they did against Chicago. I think that they probably just had a bad day at the office last week. But if they can either go toe-to-toe with the Eagles, if the Eagles put up points, or if they can get a big enough lead, then they'll be in business. But I think that'll probably be one of the more closer games to watch in terms of the NFC, just for the simple fact that it's going to be a tough out for whoever it is that has to go up against the Seahawks in 2 weeks, just like it's going to be a tough out for whoever goes to Denver in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's going to make for a very exciting wild card weekend, Libre.
Super excited. Can't wait.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for the overtime segment of today's show. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to say thanks to everybody in our chat tonight. Juan Marquez, D-Rock, thanks for stopping by. David Straub, who asked about Bo Nix being good at clarinet. I just saw that. I don't know what that means. I apologize. Tim Dog, King Crease, I know you tried to come in here be a hater, but hopefully our explanation kind of made you see the light and the error in your ways. And then, of course, Biggie Bronco, thanks so much for stopping by. And thank you guys for joining us for the very first episode of Broncos Talk of the new year, which is 2026. Before we head on out of here, just got to go over a couple things with you guys like we do before at the end of every single show. Please, if you could show your support for us here, you can subscribe, share, comment, and like on this and all the videos here on the Orange and Blue Network. Again, your support is very, 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 very well appreciated and helps us grow as a family throughout Broncos country. If there's something you heard me and Libre talk about that you don't agree with, please feel free to hit us up on the comment section and we will reply to you ASAP. For those of you listening to us in the audio section, doesn't matter what platform, please feel free to give us 5-star reviews. Are very well appreciated. If you like, you can send us a screenshot to our Twitter handles. You can see there at the bottom. Mine is at A6ft10Mexican. Bronco Libre is at Bronco Libre 5280. Shout out to our sponsor, Dubby. If you use the code OBN10, you'll get 10% off your order at checkout. Again, thank you to Dubby for being a continued sponsor on this and all the shows here on the Orange and Blue Network. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be back this Friday for the return of Viva Los Broncos, the only all Spanish podcast lad show here. English words are hard on the Orange and Blue Network. So we do hope you are able to join me and Libre as we celebrate the new year again in Espanol.
Hey, breaking news. Trae Young was just traded to the Washington Wizards for CJ McCollum and Corey Christopher. That's crazy.
That is crazy. It's gonna make I
guess I just saw another thing too that was saying that he wanted to go to the Wizards, and then I guess Shams says whoever wanted to say that they want to play for the Wizards. So that's crazy.
That is crazy. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. He's Bronco Libre. I'm Adan Diaz. This has been Broncos Talk here on the Orange and Blue Networks. We say so long, good night, good day, whenever it is you're listening to us. And as always, go Broncos!
Go Broncos!
Let's go! You can end the stream now, Libre.
Oh, yeah?